Have you ever searched for a flight, seen the price, and just stared at your screen like, excuse me, is this a plane ticket or am I buying the entire airplane? Because seriously, a few years ago, you could find a flight for 100 euros, 150 euros, maybe 200 euros. Now, you search the exact same route and suddenly it's 400 euros, 600 euros, 900 euros. And then the website has the audacity to say, would you like to add a suitcase for only 79 euros? No. At this point, I'm considering walking there. But here's the weird part. Why are flights so expensive right now? Is it fuel? Is it inflation? Are airlines just greedy? Are too many people traveling? And most importantly, why don't ticket prices come back down when fuel prices come back down? Let's break it down. Let's start with something surprisingly simple. People really want to travel. After the pandemic, people basically went, okay, we spent 2 years sitting inside staring at the same wall. Now we're going everywhere. And that demand never really disappeared. People want holidays. People want to visit family. People want to go to concerts. People want to go to Spain, Italy, Greece, Japan, Morocco. Basically, everyone suddenly remembered that the Earth exists, and airlines noticed. Here's the problem. Imagine there are 100 people who want to fly from city A to city B, but the airline only has 80 seats available. What happens? Well, you don't need to be an economics professor. The airline doesn't say, we're sorry, we're sold out. Let's make the tickets cheaper. No, they say, how much are you willing to pay? And suddenly, that 120 euro ticket becomes 250 euros, then 400 euros. Then, some guy buys the last seat for 700 euros because his wedding is tomorrow. That's basically supply and demand. And right now, demand for travel remains strong while airline capacity hasn't fully caught up. IATA says aircraft shortages and supply chain problems have continued to constrain capacity in 2026. So there's our first villain. Not the airline CEO, not even inflation. It's too many people wanting too few seats. Okay, now we get to the big one. Jet fuel. Planes don't exactly run on good vibes. They need fuel, and lots of it. A commercial airplane can burn thousands of gallons of fuel during a flight. So when oil and jet fuel prices go up, airlines suddenly have a very big problem. Imagine you're running an airline. You have fuel, pilots, cabin crew, airport fees, aircraft maintenance, insurance, and about 700 other things I haven't mentioned. And then one day, someone walks into your office and says, oh yeah, fuel just got much more expensive. And you're like, fantastic. During the 2026 Middle East conflict, jet fuel prices surged dramatically, putting major pressure on airlines. IATA said the fuel shock was severe enough to cut its forecast for airline profitability roughly in half compared with its earlier outlook. So airlines started raising fares. Makes sense, right? But there's a problem. This is where things get interesting. Recently, jet fuel prices started coming down again. So you'd think fuel cheaper equals tickets cheaper, right? Wrong. Well, not exactly wrong, but definitely not that simple. Because airline prices don't work like a vending machine. You don't put in cheaper fuel and poof, 500 euro ticket becomes 150 euros. Airlines are businesses, and once they increase prices, they don't necessarily rush to decrease them. There's actually a term economists use for this, the rockets and feathers effect. Prices go up like a rocket, but come down like a feather, very slowly. CBS recently explained this exact dynamic with airfares. Fuel costs can push prices up quickly, while lower costs don't necessarily produce an equally quick reduction in fares. And honestly, think about your local gas station. Oil prices go up. Tomorrow, new price. Oil prices go down. 3 weeks later, we'll see. Airlines can behave similarly. And there's another reason. Imagine 5 airlines are flying the same route. Airline A charges 400 euros. Airline B charges 390 euros. Airline C charges 410 euros. Everything is peaceful. Then Airline A suddenly says, guys, 250 euros. Everyone else looks at them. Why did you do that? Now Airline B has to respond. Fine, 240 euros. Airline C, 230 euros. And suddenly everybody is fighting over who can make the least money. That's called a price war. And airlines really don't want that, especially after a period of huge cost increases. Recent reporting shows airlines have been reluctant to cut fares aggressively, even as jet fuel costs eased, partly because they don't want to trigger a race to the bottom. So airlines basically have this choice: sell the seat for 500 euros or sell it for 250 euros and hope volume makes up the difference. If people are still willing to pay 500 euros, well, you already know which option they prefer. Remember when I said there aren't enough seats? Here's where things get even more interesting. Airlines haven't been able to expand capacity as quickly as they would like. Why? Because airplanes don't grow on trees. Airbus and Boeing can't just say, people want more flights. Let's build 4,000 airplanes by Friday. No. Building a commercial aircraft takes time. There are engines, thousands of parts, suppliers, factories, testing, certification, maintenance, and a ridiculous amount of paperwork. Meanwhile, airlines are also dealing with older aircraft staying in service longer and supply chain problems. IATA says aircraft shortages and supply chain disruptions have kept capacity below what the industry would otherwise like to provide. So imagine you're trying to open a restaurant, but you only have half the chairs, and 300 people are standing outside. What do you think happens to the price of dinner? Exactly. Here's something most people don't think about. The number of airlines competing on your route matters. Let's say 5 airlines fly from your city to Paris. Great. They have to compete. Come fly with us. No, come with us. 120 euros, 115 euros, free coffee. Okay, maybe not free coffee, but you get the idea. Competition pushes prices down. Now imagine one of those airlines disappears. Suddenly, there's less competition. And that's exactly what happened in the US when low-cost airline Spirit shut down in May 2026. Spirit was known for offering extremely cheap fares. Its disappearance removed a major source of low-cost competition on some routes. And when a cheap competitor disappears, the remaining airlines don't exactly throw a party and say, let's make tickets cheaper for everyone. They have less pressure to do that. Now let's talk about something everyone loves: airline fees. Because apparently buying the ticket wasn't enough. You buy the flight, then, do you want a suitcase? 60 euros. Do you want to choose your seat? 25 euros. Do you want priority boarding? 30 euros. Do you want food? 15 euros. Do you want Wi-Fi? 9 euros. Do you want oxygen? Premium package, 49 euros and 99 cents. Okay, I'm joking about that last one. For now. But these extra fees have become a significant part of how airlines make money. And here's the psychological trick. A 180 euro ticket looks cheap. A 300 euro ticket looks expensive. So airlines can advertise the 180 euro base fare and then add things afterward. Suddenly, your 180 euro flight is 290 euros. And you're sitting there thinking, well, I've already booked it. They got you. Okay, this is probably the question you actually care about. When will we get our cheap flights back? Unfortunately, I don't have a magic 99 euro flight coupon hidden under my desk. But there are a few things that could help. If fuel prices stay lower, that's good. If airlines add more flights, that's good. If aircraft deliveries increase, that's good. If competition increases, also good. And if people suddenly decide, you know what? I don't want to travel anymore, that would also push prices down. But somehow, I don't think that's happening, especially not during summer. Because people would rather spend 600 euros on a flight than spend another summer sitting at home watching their neighbor's cat through the window. Now here's the good news. You don't necessarily have to pay the ridiculous price. You just have to become slightly annoying. Don't automatically take the first flight you see. And don't assume the cheapest ticket is actually the cheapest ticket. Because sometimes, 120 euros flight isn't really 120 euros. It's the airline's version of a surprise birthday party, except you're the one paying for it.